Hey, what's up, everyone? We got Scott Taylor here, and we're just gonna do a little quickie review about the Thunderbolts movie, the new Marvel movie that's coming out. It seems like Marvel's been kind of a lot more misses than hits lately, and I have to admit too, right off the bat, I haven't seen the last two. I think the Marvels, and I didn't see the Captain America one.
hmm
But yeah, the Thunderbolts I thought was pretty good. What did you think, Scott?
I had a lot of expectations going in because
Yeah,
it just from the trailers and the Marvel history of all the characters, it felt like my type of movie. Like I like ragtag
yeah,
groups, right? Like Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably my favorite
yeah.
out of all the Marvels, right? It's very in line with that, where it's not taking the superhero aspect of it too seriously. And so that's why I was excited going into it, and I feel like it didn't let me down at all. It hit all those
Yeah,
marks. It could stand on its own legs, apart from not needing the superhero kind of aspect to it. It wasn't solely that type of movie.
yeah.
It had a story, it had character development, it had an arc. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I think me too. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think one of the reasons why I enjoyed it is because I think a lot of times there's a lot of CG in these movies, and it's superhero movies, and you have to have a certain amount of it, obviously. But I like it when they kind of like we were talking about with Daredevil. I like it when they kind of ground it, and when they have like when they had those scenes later in the movie in New York City, on the streets and stuff, and there was just people walking around. To me, it kind of I like it when it does that because then it's kind of superheroes and all this kind of stuff. Regardless of that, it's like if you can ground it in reality a little bit, just a little bit, I feel like there's a little more. I don't know. I hate to say believability, but it just grounds it into reality a little bit. That's why. I mean, that's not the whole reason why I liked it, but I liked it because the story was good. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
it kind of it touches on these subjects. I mean, the whole movie was about depression, and wasn't really heavy handed about it, but it was kind of the real focal point of it, especially when what is it,
Mm-hmm.
Century? I
The
can't.
Sentry, yeah.
Yeah, the Century when he's introduced, and I knew he was going to be the focal point of the movie, but I didn't know to what extent. I thought maybe it was just going to be, something that was kind of a new superhero. Again, I'm walking into this with no knowledge of like Thunderbolts or
Mm-hmm.
Thunderbolts and what they are. But I thought it was great. I thought it had really cool action pieces. I think whenever or excuse me, the bright part I think was Florence Pugh. I think she really kind of held this movie together too. I think there was a lot of times when for the most part, this movie kind of went along smoothly. It was really compelling. It drew me in and it kept my attention. And I think when it kind of wavered, the few parts that kind of maybe were kind of, you could see it coming apart a little bit. She kind of just went in there with her kind of charisma or whatever her movie star quality is and kind of brought that and it kind of brought it back together. And I thought it was a great movie. So yeah, I mean, I really liked it. And I don't think it's like, is it in game type quality? No, but I think it's in the right. I think it's the right path. I think they're
Mm-hmm.
coming. These are the kind of movies that they need to be making, like to kind of bring it back, I guess. So yeah, what were some bright spots for you?
I do agree. I think it was all about just flaws, right? Like
Yeah,
we're all flawed, and you can have all the power in the world, but you're going to be flawed. And
yeah,
the people that make it through that are the people that remember their humanity and remember other people being there to help them and to give them help when they need it. That was the whole storyline of it. Like Guardians was family, right? It was all about family and that found family that's so important nowadays with divisiveness. It's the people that you pick to be in your life, whether it's blood or not. And
yeah,
this followed in the same line of that, but it added to it because it's like, no, that's how you keep yourself healthy. That's how you do it is you reach out to other people and you lean on them and they lean on you. So the whole story aspect there is a great juxtaposition of superpower movies. Not to say things like Shang-Chi and Black Panther and all those movies didn't have heart and that sort of character to it, but that was the main driving factor in this one. And I do agree that the acting was great. It's Florence Pugh was great in there. You can't go wrong with Sebastian Stan. I was actually
yeah.
going through my list, and I was going to ask you what other than this, let's go through the big three there and say, well, what's your favorite other thing from them? So Florence Pugh, for me, it'd have to be Midsummer.
Well, I mean, I like David Harbour. I just like anything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Things comes to mind first of all. I mean, I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or that show. Let's see. You know, he played. I was watching movies the last couple weeks. I've been watching random movies here and there, and I was watching Brokeback Mountain, and he has a leaving a little part in that one that he kind of steals the show there and the scenes that he's in. But yeah, I would say Stranger Things. Damn, I didn't look up his IMDb. But he
I was
pops up.
I was gonna say
Well, I mean,
Violent Night is a good one too.
oh yeah, that's the one with
He's pretty
when he's the Santa Claus.
Santa, yeah. He does
Yeah,
pretty good in that action role.
yeah. Um, yeah, for Florence Pugh. Let's see, Midsummer. There was, geez, I liked her in Dune.
Mm.
She was in both Dune movies, and I mean, she always brings her gravitas to this movie too, and I think you feel it throughout the movie. Like I said, I think when the chemistry that she has with not only David Harbour but with all the other people, I mean, I think especially with John Walker. What's his real name? He's anyways, old man brain. I looked these up right before and I can't remember the name. But anyways, the chemistry with all of them, I think it's kind of what held. She was kind of the glue that held everybody together. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I said before. I think when the kind of story was kind of getting a little wobbly there, she would just brings to mind is the scene when she's just kind of had it up. They just got beat by the Sentry, and you know she's kind of crying to her dad about what she's doing and how empty she feels and how she just wants some sort of purpose. And you know, I think that was kind of for me that kind of just tied the whole movie together was that ability to kind of anchor a movie like that. It's a testament to kind of her acting ability too. So yeah,
Yeah, it totally brought her to the forefront of it.
yeah,
Because even, Black Widow movie, she was a big part of it, but she was the
yeah,
sister,
yeah.
and
I
same
mean,
thing in Hawkeye. She was just kind of, there to take
yeah,
revenge for her sister. And
yeah.
she's just right up front, and she deserves every moment of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to some interviews and some like not interviews, but some like podcast type of stuff, and I wanted to ask you this question too: was do you think that maybe she was a better Black Widow than Scarlett Johansson, or do you prefer Scarlett over Florence Pugh?
Who I mean, to go back and say, would she have been better in all those
Yeah,
situations? It's
yeah,
tough. It's tough because it's ingrained. It's been around for, I mean,
yeah,
Iron Man, we saw WonderCon, panel with John Favreau back in the day. And it's like, here's some test footage of Iron Man. And so it's been forever. It's been forever and she was one of the earliest ones, cast, right?
yeah,
Because it was that
yeah,
side thing with Samuel
yeah,
Jackson.
yeah,
So it's really tough to say that. I think that Florence Pugh has probably moved me more emotionally than Scarlett Johansson ever did in the Black Widow role.
yeah, yeah. I would say that's a big. I mean, I still prefer. Like you said, it's hard to imagine because
Mm-hmm.
it's been so long and she's kind of embraced that role. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd have to agree. I think now it's a good passing the torch. I mean, I couldn't think of a better person to pass the torch to than Florence.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that reminds me too, because when you brought up Iron Man, why do you think the Marvel universe or the Marvel movies have kind of floundered a little bit in the last couple of years since Endgame, basically?
So when I make a peanut butter sandwich, I make sure that the peanut butter is evenly spread and that it's in a good ratio to the bread I'm using, right? So if I was going to use a really thick honkin' focaccia for some reason, I don't know if focaccia would really go with peanut butter, but go with it for this analogy. If I was going to do that, I'd make sure to put more peanut butter there. And I feel like the ratios were just off for a
Yeah,
lot of this. It was they flew too close to the sun with all the TV projects, which we've talked about are great. 95% of them are really good. And in a sense, this felt more like a Marvel TV project to me than a Marvel movie
yeah,
because it had that level of heart to it and realness. I think they just spread themselves out too thin. It's too thin, too fast. There's the multiverse. You get there, and it's great in theory because it opens so many doors, but also it opens so many doors. There's just so much there that the people want brought in, and you're trying to give them more and more and trying to top yourself every single time. And it's
Yeah,
just tough to stay up with that routine.
yeah. I mean, I think I think it they kind of I mean, I think when they started with Iron Man, I remember. I think I was still at the firm with you, and I don't know what your reaction was, but I remember mine being like, Iron Man, that's interesting." To start
Mm-hmm.
with, because that character was for me was kind of a secondary character, and because I always had the X Men and Spider Man and but it went gangbusters, and it seemed like every movie and every character that they had in their arsenal that was kind of a hit right off the bat. I mean, you had
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man, then you had Captain America and Thor, and these aren't the mainstream kind of characters that everybody thinks of when they think of spider or comic book heroes and stuff. And so I think that when they went into probably Guardians of the Galaxy kind of stuff, and they had a hit with that, they just thought, okay, well, we have the mojo to kind of create or pull some random characters and make them big. And I think with the Marvels, I think that was the first one for me, at least, was the first one that they kind of swung and missed. Although I did like the first one, it wasn't. It was kind of like I wasn't like sold on it completely, but it wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from there they kind of were like, oh, let's hurry up and get another one. It just felt like they were just kind of like, all right, well, this one missed, let's get another one in there quick. And I think after Endgame, especially, I think we were talking about this in an earlier podcast, but it was like I think after Endgame, I kind of don't see any kind of build up to because this was the last film in what Phase 5,
Yeah.
and so now we're getting into Phase 6 and getting the Fantastic Four, but I just don't see any kind of build up to anything. Where I think in Phase 1 through was it 3 or 4, you kind of had the Infinity Stones, and they were kind of planting each seed. With each movie, you kind of had that. Excuse me, kind of had that build up to it. Whereas this one, it's the multiverse, and I think it's gonna. That seems to be the thing, but I don't. Is it gonna end? I don't know. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they were like, okay, great. People are going to follow us anywhere. I mean, they want more, more,
Yeah,
more, and we're going to give them more, more, more.
yeah,
Especially with like the TV stuff, and they didn't account for okay, well, there was a lot of people watching TV during COVID. That's what you did. And there's stuff that I watched during COVID, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back to that. That was just the time and place for it.
yeah.
People, don't have the time and the effort to put into this anymore to be like, wait, where do I remember them from? Oh, it's from 3 movies ago over here. They had that
Right.
end credit scene. Most of the fan base isn't there for that. And I think
Mm.
Marvel is going to have a hard time pulling in a new audience. The existing audience, yeah, they can keep around, and as long as they keep them
Yeah,
happy and they don't dilute everything too much.
yeah,
And I think that's where they got a little bit. And like I've said, I love the TV shows. I love Miss Marvel on there was great. It was one of the best. Hawkeye was really good. Loki's great. Everything that I've seen on there. Now I haven't seen She-Hulk, and I've heard iffy things about it. But and the only other Marvel movie, I don't think I saw the most recent Black Panther, and I haven't seen the newest Captain America. But I think I'm good through everything
yeah.
else.
I didn't see the Black Panther one. Oh no, I did see the Black Panther, the newest one, and it just didn't stay with me because I think there was such, with the passing of the original Black Panther, Chadwick what is it, Boseman?
Bozeman, yep.
And I think there was just chaos with that, and the what is the controversy with Jonathan? What I can't remember his last name.
With
Um,
Kang, yeah.
yeah, Kang, and I think that for me, that just seemed like it was kind of this. Um, it just kind of messed up a lot of things. Like, because I remember Kevin Feige was on stage and he was announcing all these movies that were based off Kang. And then once they got rid of him, kind of created this void that I feel like they just was like, all right, let's just go to Plan B, let's do this, and then all that chaos, I just kind of got lost. And like I said before, it just seems like it's doesn't seem like these are building up too much. It
Mhm.
just seemed like they're building up to Doom, which we haven't seen. But I guess next year they're gonna have this Doom movie, and it's gonna be a end game type of event. And for me, there's no excitement there. I don't know. I just don't see it. But
Yeah, and Marvel's not, Marvel, they're not without their flaws, right?
yeah,
They can be flawed, just like the characters in those movies can be flawed.
right.
It doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to define the studio, just like it didn't define the characters here. You can change it up and pull through, and
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that I think a lot will. It's going to be a slow burn. I think right now we felt like a slow burn before, but there was a lot of fire to it, right? It was a lot of pow 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 different movies
Yeah.
coming, and I feel like this is more of a slow burn into the Secret Wars and stuff like that, getting to be able
Yeah.
to pull those people together. And also, as in comics, it's like when you got to Secret War, it was like, oh great, all these people get to play together in a sandbox, and we kind of already had that with Infinity War and Infinity Gauntlet, and seeing all that on screen, we got to see literally everybody on the same battlefield at once. So it's kind of like we're going back to the well a little bit on that, and it's not going to be as exciting. So they
Right.
really have to pull from the story there and get us interested in the story behind it.
That's true. That's true. Because I love Marvel and I love the movies and stuff, and it pains me when I don't like a movie, and it's like I don't want to not like it, but I feel like you have to be honest and you have to be but I still would go and see any movie that they put out unless I hear there's some that I'll wait about a week or so, kind of, because I think the last Captain America movie, to me, at first I was really excited about that. Oh, okay, cool. Finally, it's getting on the screen. But then you start hearing about all the reshoots, and you start hearing about some, stuff on the set, and then I'm like, all right, I'll give it a week, because I want to I don't want to add to the frenzy of the first, the opening
Mm-hmm.
weekend, But then it just didn't get better. And so when it comes out on Disney, I think it's going to come out on Disney Plus this month. I'll watch it then, but I've heard I just didn't hear anything good about it, and I don't want to go see a movie that I just want to like because I want to like all these movies, and then when it just turns out to be kind of a thud, then it's like disappointing, It's
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want it to go away, but whatevs.
Yeah, and I do like this movie. They also it didn't feel like they took time explaining backstory. That
Yeah.
like you can get held up in that a lot, and it can drag a movie down. It's like we've talked. I think we've talked before about like we don't need another Spider-Man explanation, origin
Right.
story. We don't need origin stories for when they do these reboots.
Right.
And for right here, you didn't really need it. I think feel like you could come in from the outside and still get kind of what was going on. You get more of it because you do know the backstory, but I don't think you needed it. You can go in and they explain who John Walker was and that he was the new Captain America, and that might be a little abrupt to someone that didn't see the other movies and didn't watch the was it Falcon and Winter Soldier series. But you get extra context there if you do. Like I was watching one scene from it this morning. Someone had put together a reel of it, and it's when Walker was talking to Bucky and Falcon and saying, I'm not Steve Rogers. I'm not trying to be Steve Rogers. He gives this little heartfelt kind of speech there, and they're very standoffish with him. But then at the end, he says something like, "And it'd be great to have Falcon by my side to show people that you're on board." And Sam goes, "It's always that last line." Like and it's true. It's like you can have this whole heartfelt thing, but that last line tells you what someone's real intention is
Oh
behind it.
wow. Yeah.
And so you get context like that, about who this person is. Yeah, he killed someone. Great. That's something if you just go into this movie without seeing the other stuff. But you get more to it if you actually go back and watch the original footage.
Yeah, that's a good point. There was times I think when I was watching this movie that I thought, well, you could watch this movie. You don't really need to watch these other movies and stuff. But that's a good touch. If you have,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of brings more context, obviously, to these characters, and especially when his shield gets bent, like a taco, and he keeps it out. I don't know why that made me laugh the whole rest of the movie. But
There is
yeah,
a good amount of exposition there, though, right? Like it's, 'cause they
yeah. I
have to
mean,
explain it to people.
yeah. There.
Like Ghost. How do you explain like Ghost? Well, okay, what's your deal? Oh, you can phase through things. Cool. How'd that
Yeah,
happen? Blah
yeah,
blah blah
yeah,
blah blah
yeah,
blah blah. And you're like, wait, what? Okay,
yeah.
I'll go with it.
Right, right. But yeah, I think. What did you think about Taskmaster? Master. I
It was
didn't see that one
quick.
coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fast. It was just oh nope done. There you go. They're
yeah,
in. I thought they'd be part of the gang or something like that, and I don't remember seeing them as part of like the posters and that sort of stuff.
yeah,
So I should have expected it, but that was pretty
yeah. I mean,
quick.
yeah. It's. I think somebody online kind of compared it to Ryan. The what's the Deadpool in the Wolverine movie, and they kind of said that that was kind of the comparison was that for Taskmaster on this one or on the Black Widow movie was kind of it wasn't portrayed right, so they just kind of made the call to get rid of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that'll come back, in some other movie as a new Taskmaster, and I'm looking forward to that because I don't know, it's really shocking when something like that happens and you don't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I guess you can kill these people, because they're always like and kind of unshootable,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Captain America. But yeah, so final thoughts, man. So you like this movie?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think you, like we've said, you can go from the outside, not being a giant Marvel fan, and still enjoy it as long as you like the theme of superhero movies.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of flying, not a lot of laser eyes coming out. It's pretty grounded, and it's a story about humanity and about flaws and mental health and
yeah,
trying to make it through the day while helping other people make it through the day.
yeah. And it's kind of cool. I mean, it's they kind of uh, they kind of address these issues. And even though it was kind of, at times, I mean, you think about it, the last winning shot for them was the group hug, but they kind of, they didn't make it cheesy or they didn't make it kind of cringy or anything like that. It kind of fit into the narrative of what they were trying to say. Yeah, and I liked it too. I thought the acting was superb. The chemistry, I think, is what kind of made this movie, and that they all had chemistry with each other. It was great. And at the end, when they finally learned how to work together, it kind of always makes it easier when you have something to work. When you have like somebody to work. I don't know, like a villain, which was I guess they called him the Void,
Mm-hmm.
Sentry Void, and then obviously Julie Louis Dreyfus was at the end still comes out on top. But yeah, I loved it. I hope that they make more movies like this. That would be sweet, So yeah. Well, that's it. Thanks for coming on, Scott. I just maybe
Yeah,
we should do more of these. This is kind of cool. It's kind of fun.
yeah, quick bits are good.
Um, yeah, yeah. So thanks for joining in, everybody, and we'll see you later. See you, Scott.